Okay, I am so ready. It says we're live. I appreciate everybody for sticking around. Because you know what? We got off a little bit late from television. It's 10:48. I am 18 minutes behind schedule here for Sharks Night Shift. A second straight victory, but this one of a totally different story. Sharks against Carolina last game. The 29-point Canes, one of the best teams in the league. Played them tight. Trailed. Had to equalize the game. Had to hang in there. But against a very good Carolina team. Tonight, you're going up against the 9-point Ottawa Senators. Tonight was a game where if you didn't get the results, it would have been extremely disappointing. The Sharks did get the results, maybe not how they planned, maybe not as easily or as flawlessly as they would have liked, but they scored all three periods. They get the final four goals of the game unanswered. Again, welcome to the live stream here, everybody, on the eve of Thanksgiving. I really appreciate everybody for being here. I'll jump into the live chat in just a second, get everybody's thoughts and comments on the night that was, and quite honestly, wasn't. I saw somebody earlier say here in this live chat that tonight it was the Sharks' B game. And sometimes that B game is good enough against a team like Ottawa. In fact, look at that. Tim Johnson made the comment. Definitely a B game night for the Sharks, but they found a way to dig deep, put the bad stretches behind them, and grind out a win. Sometimes good enough is enough. And I think that is an exceptional way to look at this game. When you have Brady Tkachuk going in the penalty box every single period, leaving this door open for you, I mean, you have to find a way to win. The fact that it was 3-3 after 40 minutes was actually pretty frustrating. And the fact that it was 1-1 after 20 minutes was also extremely frustrating. The Sharks scored first, got a power play they couldn't do anything with. Next thing you know, it's 1-1 because Josh Norris bangs home a rebound from right out front. Second period, okay, you throw the first punch. Hurdle from Timo Meier. By the way, assisted secondary assist from Mario Ferraro. That's now 4 games in a row with a point for Mario. We'll talk more about him in a second. But that's 47 seconds in. Now you're up 2-1. Okay, we got a good grasp on this game. Ottawa gets the next 2. All of a sudden, the Senators are leading 3-2. And then Bonino scores the goal that makes it 3-3. The Sharks would never look back. And for Nick Bonino, 700 games in this league. His family was there tonight. He waited 18 games this season to finally get his first point and goal as a San Jose Shark, the team that drafted him so many years ago. And isn't it interesting about sports? The same Nick Bonino who scored one of the biggest goals in that Pittsburgh Penguins series against San Jose to win the Stanley Cup. By the way, I digress here. Should I take the phone call from one Doc Brown right now? Watch this. Nah, you know what? I don't want to because I don't think he'll understand. Like, I'm live streaming and whatever. So I don't know what he wants to talk about. We were just together for several hours. Anyway. How crazy is it that it's the same Nick Bonino who, was drafted by the Sharks, who hurt the Sharks so much in the Stanley Cup final, and here we are just pulling for him to get a first goal of the season, to get off the schneid, and he does that. And I think you could see the relief on the power play goal as Timo fed him. It was like first look was, yeah, finally. And the ragdolling that everybody gave him, as they celebrated together. I thought that really made a statement of how his teammates felt for him in kind of the same way that teammates felt for Jake Middleton to get his first NHL goal. Yeah, empty netter, I get it. But still, that accomplishment, to put that under your belt, doesn't matter how it happened in the end, So you could tell the camaraderie was there. You could tell this was, although it wasn't their best game, in a lot of ways it was a team win. I talked about the first period, how it was a bit disappointing that it was a tie game instead of a Sharks lead. And I thought momentum really was the story of tonight. As the Ottawa Senators scoring 2 in a row and taking a lead 3-2, they looked to grab momentum in this game. It had a really sour taste there in just a couple minutes' time. But talk about momentum. for the Sharks to get that last goal. I mean, and Bonino's goal in the second period was with 30 seconds left, right? So that to get a goal in the first minute of the second period and the last minute of the second period, that's a momentum changer right there overall. Sharks obviously got, 2 empty netters and a third goal in the third period as well, too. So crazy, right? If it's a parity thing in the league, well, let me say it like this. Parity is such a huge part of the NHL in that so many teams can win so many games on any given night. But for the Sharks, I think what you just saw in their last 2 games is maybe playing up to a team like Carolina, making it difficult on them, not being kicked out of the game, not letting the gap get too big in the game where you couldn't catch up. They hung with the Canes. And I think tonight, how many times did Ottawa open the door with a penalty? Or it just seemed like tonight maybe the Sharks didn't play their best game, played kind of down to the Senators a little bit. Now, in the end, people are going to see 6-3 as the final score and say, yeah, the Senators got doubled up on the scoreboard. They got handled. Well, quite honestly, if you watch the game through 40 minutes, through 38 minutes, did it feel like that? I don't think you could say yes. So that is a trend, that is a theme of the Sharks to watch for this season, because they have definitely, as Hetty said in the broadcast, the Sharks this year have beat 3 of the top 5 teams in the NHL. They already have that on their resume this year. But at some respect, you have to get those wins that maybe weren't expected by you. You have to get those, but you also have to beat all these teams and win these games like tonight that you are supposed to. Like a game against the Devils on the next road trip that you are supposed to. Bob Boughner said tonight that his team stuck with it. I thought that was a very well-stated opinion of the game. Things weren't going your way necessarily, and a couple mistakes, things you couldn't capitalize on, but it's a long game, and it's a team that you can afford to make several mistakes and still correct for them, and a team like Ottawa. Mario Ferraro is on a 4-game point streak. I talked about that. 10 points in his 19 games this year. Was he supposed to be an offensive defenseman? Because, he's entering into the Brent Burns category of secondary helpers. And also this, did he have 7 blocked shots tonight? Can we pause for a second? Do I have some elevator music? Well, let me go to the stats here. Okay, I wasn't done. I wasn't actually done. I needed a longer cut of music than that. Let's see what else we have. Whoop. Nope, that wasn't the right one. Now the NHL's media site's being super slow on me. Let's see if we can pull it up here as I go. There we go. All right. San Jose Sharks. As they typically are, last game of the league on most nights. All right, game summary, event summary. Here in the event summary is where we are going to see number 38, Mario Ferraro. Holy smokes! 7 block shots of the Sharks' 21 total. 21 block shots in a night, wow, that's a lot. And 7 of them by Mario. I heard, and I want to double check this stat, not that I don't trust who it came from, but I'm more interested to know that this is true and how many he has. He's one of the leaders, if not the leader, in the league this year in block shots. How have I not picked up on that? So blocking shots, 4 straight games with an assist. One of the letter wearers of the team. I know I praise Mario pretty much every live stream, but at some point, you gotta recognize what he's doing out there in 24 minutes of ice time tonight. So pretty happy for Mario. By the way, as I rub my sore left shoulder here, it was mentioned that I did get boosted yesterday, and I had a rough last night. Wow, last night was everything. Chills, sweats. But I had a similar reaction the first time. The second time, actually. Anyway, long story short, I am a bit fatigued tonight. This live stream is not going to last as long as some of the others. That being said, I eventually here want to get into the live chat. I'm probably going to do that next. There's another thing I want to mention here. Give me 1 second to look this up. All right. I'm going to go to I think I can just do it like that and like that. See, this is what would happen, by the way, if pregame live were technically done by one person, by me. Hang on a second while I pull up the standings here. So in the Pacific Division, I mean, this is bonkers that the Sharks have only played the first place Calgary Flames in the Pacific Division, who lead the division at 29 points as I record this. A plus 30 goal differential. The Flames are having a heck of a season. And so is the other Alberta team. The Oilers are one behind them, not the same goal differential at plus 17, but still impressive. And when you've got Connor McDavid, pretty much anything can happen. So after them, you've seen the Golden Knights make their surge. Anaheim had racked off 8 wins in a row. As of late, cooled off a little bit since then. The Sharks, got a few points behind that mix. LA, Vancouver, Seattle behind them. Here's my point. These standings. Like, how they've looked from day one, and there's been some movement here and there, kind of with the exception of the Kraken. Sharks have been relatively middle of the pack, minus their 4-0 start to the year. The standings. You know where the Sharks are here. But how do the Sharks match up when it comes down to head-to-head against these teams? I am very eager and interested to find out, because when you think about all the games San Jose is going to play against these other 7 teams, this is what's going to decide them being a playoff team or not. All the division games have so much more importance, and we had the Calgary game in early November, and we're not going to see Calgary again until December 7th? That's still 2 weeks away. This is so crazy. And then there's kind of a flood of divisional games for San Jose. So what I'm saying here is that we kind of don't know. You talk about playoffs, you talk about contention, movement in the standings. A lot of these teams have seen each other already, but for the Sharks, they have only seen Calgary once. So we know where the Sharks stand. We just don't know how they match up against any or all of these teams. I do want to preface that, and actually I want to temper my expectations. Well, not temper my expectations, but I want to realize that as much as I'm optimistic about this Sharks season, they struggled mightily against Las Vegas last year. Winless, I want to say, in was it playing 7 or 8 times? All the games. That's going to have to change this year. The point being is that, and the Sharks have already beat Calgary, right? They beat them 4-1 on the last road trip. So, I mean, you can't let the top teams in the division dominate you, whether it's Calgary, Edmonton, Las Vegas. I mean, certainly the other California teams, and they're kind of right in a row here, 4, 5, 6. You see where the potential is to crack a top tier. But you're going to this year, the Sharks cannot afford to really struggle against the top teams, do okay against the middle teams, and kind of, take care of business against the Vancouvers and Seattles of the world. So I suppose we'll find all that out. All right, let's go. Let's dive into the live chat while I'm still here, while you're still here. And what is this, by the way? While I was waiting, or I was getting set to go here, enjoy Teal Town USA live while you wait. You guys are really trying to rip my audience away? In all seriousness, you're good people. I don't care. But what kind of move is that? Who does that? Good vibes from the team with all the guys getting around each other. I think you are seeing a team that, how do I say this? At 10-8-1. That's an improvement from where they were last year. Clearly, the direction they're going is already better. But I think what you can sense is the human aspect, the body language, and unfortunately, all of this, this optimism, this new feeling they have, as much as it's tied to their results this year and some wins they've had and some performances they've had, I realize and I see what's in here in the comments. Some of it's tied to, well, it's because Evander Kane is not around. It is, first off, I mean, unless any of you are in the room or around the team or the situation, I know what you're seeing. I know the 2 and 2 you're putting together, and I also am not here to discount what you're saying. But I think it's a weird dynamic that the first thing we go to is who's not here instead of the group that is here, enjoying this chemistry, keeping it going, building on it as the season goes on. So again, to clarify, to make this very clear, could it be about what they don't have right now? Maybe. But is it also at least equally largely about the guys they do have and some new attitudes and perspectives that have been gained? I think so. That's really what I'm trying to say. The focus is too much on one thing where you're omitting the entire other side of it, which is the people that are here that are making this a good team right now. See, I told you. And there's a lot of different opinions on Evander's talents, what he could bring to the team. And I understand that, we are now technically 5 days away. It's the 24th. The game on the 30th is when he is eligible to come back. We have 19 games played this year. 2 more, 1 at home, 1 on the road, and the next one he's eligible for. How does that work when you haven't played a game in months? You didn't really go through an official training camp? I have a lot of questions too. I really do. Love the feel-good win, seeing the guys rally and celebrate the guys getting off the schneid. Yeah, and I mean, I thought the Middleton goal, the celebration around that was telling. I thought for everybody to really rally around Bonino, and that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, right? You at home on the screen can sense what is a good team and the chemistry and the moments. You don't need to even be there. Clearly, if you're there or if you know these guys, you get it even more. But everybody can kind of see that. Go to some more comments here. I'm glad how at the very least the Sharks are consistent on the PK. That gets them out of a lot of trouble, and that's a great pickup tonight, Maddie, on the game. What you saw going 4 for 4 on the PK. And only 1 for 4 on the power play. At least that's how I last had it marked here. You know what? The Sharks' penalty kill has been among the best in the league this season. And it's not the sexiest conversation. It doesn't, power play goals probably catch eyes and headlines a little bit more. But I agree. I think that has been an underlying story of this season and what has made them a contender, in a lot of games. It has kept them in a lot of games that otherwise maybe they wouldn't be in. So happy for Bonino. I totally agree. Of course, you must have been commenting here when Brownie called me. Why would he call me right after we just spent all this time together? Why would he do that? Unless would he get locked out of the building on his way out? Erik Karlsson played well. Yeah, you wanted me to answer him, huh? Call him into the conference room. No, I think Brownie already left a long time ago. If the Sharks make the playoffs, they have to beat bad teams like this. Yeah, and I agree, Christopher. I think, again, to beat Carolina 2-1, to hang in that game, to have a very slim margin of error. And tonight, the margin of error was this wide, and the Sharks were that wide, and they still won, I think, you don't want to complain, right? Too much about a win like this. You got to win. You won 6-3. If I told you tonight during the pregame show, hey, the Sharks are going to win this thing 6-3, and I'm not counting empty netters, and I'm not counting the last 4 in a row. I mean, to score 4 unanswered really makes it a lopsided final score. I would have been happy. I would have said mission accomplished. Caker girl, Timo. Well, and when Timo is your avatar, of course I know you're going to bring Timo to the conversation. 2 assists, a goal, and I would say this. The points were there, the results were there, but was that even Timo's best game? I think he might even tell you that the case was sometimes this happens. Sometimes you have your best game and you don't get rewarded for it. A night like tonight, not necessarily your best game, but you do get rewarded for it. It evens out. And so I think Kicker Girl, to your point, let's recognize it. Let's look at where Timo's at. 7 goals on the year? And I think he missed 5 games? 5 games. So he's 7 goals in 14 games. Think about that pace. Yeah, do the quick math on that one. A goal every other game. That would be great. Scott, solid soundboard wrangling there. Oh, yeah, I could do that all night. I got to be a little bit better on it. Sorry, I know it's slightly off topic, Brody, but can you give an opinion on Kane, please? Here's something I referenced the other night when I did Sharks Night Shift against Carolina. The Sharks just beat one of the best teams in the league last game. The Sharks tonight earn a team win. And we're still about a week, or we're inside a week until the return. And nobody really knows. I mean, we all kind of know the options, right? Welcome back, or don't come back, or welcome back, but we're going to waive you and send you to the Barracuda so that you can do training camp. You can play, training camp. You can play a couple games there. Then we'll figure it out. That also might be an option. And I'm sure there are several more options. I would estimate there are 4 or 5 legitimate things that are all possible, right? I don't think the Sharks say, we know what we're doing, we're just not telling anybody. That is not the case. I think they're literally deciding right now how to handle this. Want to let the situation play out. Want to hear from as many people as possible. Want to figure out what the best for the team is. I will tell you this. I really look forward to however this gets resolved. Because I think at this point, it's a lot of conversation. It's a lot of speculation. And I don't know how it ends. And I'm not even saying I hope it goes like this, or I hope it doesn't go like this, or I hope it goes like that. What I'm saying is I will look forward to when we know this is what they've all decided and this is how they're going to move forward. And then we'll reassess or not. I don't know, depending on what the options are. Clearly, you've seen a team that has put itself together well this year, and people, again, this is it's so weird to talk about, well, do you want to add this to the mix or not? Versus, let's credit the team that has done the work, that has done the lifting, instead of making, again, so that's kind of my opinion on it. I keep going back to it. It's amazing that this is it's a primary discussion among Sharks fans. That's why, it's unavoidable. It's on the front burner. This is a front burner conversation for this team because of the time. Now, if we were talking about this in late October, if we were talking about this at Halloween, we're still a month away. More than a month away at that point. Well, no, about a month away. So it doesn't matter at that point. But now it matters. And it also matters because we don't have a single indication on what's going to happen. And so people are just curious, right? And also they see a team with a bit of direction for the first time in a couple seasons. They're seeing, I get it. People are very protective of a turn the team has made for the better. So I understand it. I also think too, do you want to, however this decision gets made, players, coach, Doug, Evander himself, don't you think there are some really good minds and some diligent people and some thoughtfulness? Don't you trust however this is going to unfold, that there's going to be some class to it, some thought and some class to it. So we shall see. Oh, there you go, Moonglow. You heard Ruzi mention it on the radio. Mario Ferraro is first in the league in block shots. Dan Rusanowski. Of course Ruzi would know. Of course he would. A true do-it-all player. And, future Captain Ferraro. Now, a lot of you know, I don't know if you know this, but my first season working with the Sharks was Logan's first as a player. And I just instantly gravitated to seeing him join that team and saying, like, that's a guy that I just look at he's a playmaker. You could tell that rookie season, like, this guy, he's going to be something. And then over the years, yeah, my thoughts did go to, well, future captain. But again, that was hard to say when you had a Joe Thornton as the captain. You thought Jumbo would play forever, as he still is, but just not with the Sharks. And then Pavelski was the captain. You thought he would be at the reins for many, many years. It was almost like, well, Logan would be a captain if that, opportunity ever arose. Well, it did. And how about this? Everybody's talking about team culture and how it's better and how they look cohesive. What I was saying before, everybody's focused on, well, look at the absence of Evander. Okay, I get it. Again, how about let's also look at Logan Couture as captain, maybe for the first time, enjoying it, thriving in it, being part of people that are all focused in one direction now, pulling on the same rope. I think you've heard that plenty of times from these guys. So happy for that. Really, really happy for that. Oh, you know what? This is when I was talking about the booster. David, the second one I had, it took me out pretty well. It was funny. It was after I got it in the morning. I worked an A's game that night. I was driving home from the Coliseum like, I feel great. Got in bed. The second I changed my clothes to go into bed, shivers, just violent shakes. But again, a small price to pay. I don't mean to give the wrong impression. Small price to pay for what it does for you. And last night was a similar effect. So I can't say that everybody's the same. I'm not a doctor. Please don't listen to me in that way. I had a similar reaction to the first time, to the second shot, but the first time I'd had it. First shot, no problem. Yeah, the Sharks need to start figuring out consistency. I would agree with that. I mean, figuring it out. It's just that you need to be more consistent. I don't know that you can figure it out. It's getting more of your A game nights against teams that you could still beat with your B game. Oh, Alaska Airlines, you're right. So I was right. Didn't beat Las Vegas at all last year. I think there were some nights where they got a point, like an overtime loss, whatever, but did not beat Las Vegas. Yeah, haven't beat the Kraken yet. So that hopefully turns out to be a couple points for San Jose. Where's the toilet button? I got that over here. You don't really need to hear that again. Maybe I already answered this. Again, there's just a lot of questions about Evander Kane. Yeah, I did see Hurdle's comments. They're here on my channel. I got to be honest, like the one thing I don't want to do is when players talk about the situation and whether they have a lot to say or not, I think body language, tells a story or gives an impression. I mean, I don't think any unfair questions have been asked and of the players. I don't think they've been asked on a too frequent basis. Could you imagine if this was a situation happening in Toronto or Montreal? I mean, this would be an every media session question. I mean, nobody is sick of it yet, but I think so far it's been respectfully handled, relatively speaking. Timo now with 18 points, only 13 behind his total of last season. Well, and it was a shortened season too. But yeah, the pace is truly noteworthy. And if he's scoring, like I said, if he's scoring every other game, and I don't know how many he'll play, but are we talking about a 30-plus goal season for Timo? What a huge deal that would be. And Cam, I agree, I'll say this, especially after 40 minutes. Tonight could have gone either way. Need to clean up the D-zone exits, O-zone entries, and nice to see the feel-good goals. They caught a break. They were persistent tonight. They caught a break. They stuck with it. Teal Town makes Brody seem like Fonzie. I'm gonna have to need some explanation on that. In what way? I got to know what you mean by that. Oh, man. Oh, if you had to pick 3 players to keep an eye on for the rest of the season, who would they be? Ooh, Maddie, that's such a great question. These are ones that I usually like to prepare for so that I can be really insightful, but I'll do it right off the cuff. I'll do it right off the cuff here. Mario Ferraro, and in no particular order. Can Mario keep up this pace of blocking the most shots in the league, of 10 points in his first 19 games, 4-game point streak, getting the secondary assists, moving the pucks up the ice, being a pretty good, plus-minus player for the minutes that he's been playing with Brent Burns? What a huge step up that's been. Mario Ferraro is one of them. Jonathan Dahlen is the next one. Now, facing a little adversity, had the injury, has now missed 2 games. Hopefully it can be limited at that. Maybe he comes back on Friday. I don't know. But sooner than later, like the Sharks had a Calder winner in Yevgeny Nabokov. Logan Couture was a finalist. Oh, who was the other finalist? Brad Stewart? Oh, man. I used to know. Anyway, Jonathan Dahlen, playing like he's playing, I realize there are some heavy competitors, and there will be heavy competitors in the Calder conversation. But to have that caliber of player, the Sharks have not had that type of skater in their rookie season in a lot of years. So I'm keeping an eye on him for that reason, playing top-line minutes with Logan. It could be a huge piece of the Sharks' future. And last but not least, there's so many here. We talked a lot about Timo. I'm probably in between here. Is it Timo Meier, who is also pacing for a 30-goal season, or is it an Erik Karlsson who's trying to, bounce back to a certain extent after a couple of years that were not, not marking career numbers and trends? So maybe I gave you 4. And maybe I should also throw in a James Reimer or an Adin Hill in there too. I think Adin Hill is a big, not question mark, but there is some unknown there. And I think in a positive way. With some more opportunity, could he gain some more consistency? If he could, I think his numbers would be dynamic as a goalie. So I gave you more than you needed right there. But for sure Ferraro, for sure Dahlen, Timo, Karlsson. Let's narrow it down to that 4 right there. All right. Where are we? Where are we on the chat? I might have lost. I might have lost it here. Oh. Honestly, I'm happy with this team so far. I know they're not perfect, but they are improved from last year. Not sure we make the playoffs. And you know what, Brian? That's a very realistic assessment. I certainly hope for better than that. The team definitely does. That's their ambition. But I agree. I think there's no question you're seeing a group that is better overall, better put together, and they're not like roster-wise and personnel-wise, they are not 180 degrees difference. It's a lot of the same players. They did not dump half the roster. They figured things out. I also think, and I'm going to circle back to the Kane situation because everybody talks about it, but you have a significant amount of your salary cap invested in a person who's not and has not been around for a quarter of the season. So all I'm saying, forget the individual. As we talk about Evander, let's talk about the salary cap and the potential that the team could use that towards, right? You got to get something out of it. You got to get Evander out of it or Evander-like production out of it, right? That's what I'm saying. Think of it from a purely like Microsoft Excel standpoint. You got to get something out of that cap commitment, whether it's Evander or whoever else that could provide that output. All right, let's go back to the chat here. All right, I lost it. Mark, what? Why would you say that? Because you think she's asleep right now. She's at home asleep, and she is. But so I agree with you. Thank you, and shouts out to you for referencing and respecting her. Ooh, Julio. I like Teal Town, but they're not as cool as you, Brody. You know what, Julio? I'm gonna give you a little Oh, shoot. Couldn't even do my own stupid soundboard. You suck, Brazil. Hey-o! Oh, actually, hey, Teal Town. I got a feeling that wasn't loud enough. Let me crank up the volume a little bit more on the old soundboard here. Try that again. And I hope you guys make videos of this. I hope you guys screenshot it for them. Here we go. Hey, Teal Town, USA. Yup. There you go. I'm kidding, people. I'm kidding. I love those guys. Let's see here. Let's go back to the old live chat. A top 5. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, Alden, great reference. Taco Timo. Timo's goal was the 4th of the night. And on the eve of Thanksgiving, everybody gets free tacos from Taco Bell that attended the game. Not everybody. Am I going to sneak on Niners pre and post game? No. This Sunday, I will be at home. 100%. Julio, that's it. You know what? Look, every good team in a really good season has a run like that. Are the Sharks going to do that this year? I don't know. Would be nice, especially when they get to division games and maybe a stretch of easier opponents, if that is such a thing. I really don't think it is. Brian got the booster last week. Yeah, I mean, I'm already fine. I'm back, but it took it out of me for a several hour span. All right, let me see here. I'm looking through. It's funny in the live chat as I look through the things to address. There's sometimes a lot of people talking to each other, and yeah, like Brody won't understand this due to. Well, I don't even know what that was about, but people talk to each other, and then I'm trying to sift through something that's meant for me. It's not meant for me. People are talking to each other, I guess, and that's fine because I kind of go off on my own little tangent to start the video too. Sorry you brought up the Kane situation on Kane's night shift. Well, yeah, that was last game, right? See, that would have been, it's funny. I was thinking about that on the way home. Like I said, I was like, why are we talking about so much Kane? And then the Sharks played the Canes. So anyway, that's innocent humor right there. All right. I think that's going to be it. Hey, Brody, love the streams. Oops. Is it just me, or does it feel like the Sharks are matching the physicality these past 2 games, and it's forcing turnovers and creating chances? I would agree. I think to be a team that is not going to get stepped on anymore, and they played 56 games last year. It took 20 games to have the Sharks' first fighting major of the season last year. It took 2 periods, I want to say, this year. Middleton dropped the gloves first. So you know what I'm getting at here. Like, this team is not afraid to defend itself, to not allow the opponent to take liberties. It's important. I know it doesn't show up all the time. It shows up on the PIMs, but it's important to be a team that doesn't take it, for a lot of different reasons. All right. I think that's it. Coming up on 11:30, and I am out of gas, but in a good way, right? I mean, it was a good result tonight. This is why I come to work. I want the results. If it was 6-3 the other way, what kind of stream would I have just done here? I'm not going to complain too much off a 6-3 win. Wasn't their best showing. Was the B game, but sometimes the B game is enough to get the job done. I messed up my mix over here now. Now I'm worried that maybe you can't hear me. The music's too loud. Second guessing everything. Hey, I just want to say to everybody watching tonight, thank you for being here. Tomorrow, here on YouTube, on my channel, I'm going to have an all-day marathon live stream. I don't want to tell you what's on it yet, but I'll be live streaming literally all day long with some really good stuff. So make it a plan to be there. Until then, have a great holiday. Be safe. Enjoy your family. And I will talk to you next time I am very thankful for all of you. Seriously. Oh, yeah. One more thing. Subscribe to the channel if you don't already. I always forget to tell people. Thumbs up on the video too. I see everybody else doing that, and then I say, I always forgot. I don't like to self-promote, but it'll help the channel. So, good night. I do appreciate it.